Hi, I'm Muhammed Hamdan and you're tuned into Nightline, the top stories. Subsidised medicines at government facilities maintained despite increase in medicine costs. And Malaysia offered to become 2026 Commonwealth Games host. Good morning. Malaysia has been offered the opportunity by the Commonwealth Games Federation, CGF, to replace Victoria, Australia, as the host of the 2026 Commonwealth Games. In a statement on Monday, the Olympic Council of Malaysia, OCM, said the offer includes a significant financial investment of about 601 million ringgit. These investments were intended to support the local delivery and legacy planning of the 2026 edition. Its president, Tan Sri Muhammad Norzah Zakaria, meanwhile said the government should consider this opportunity, which could put Malaysia back onto the world sporting map. With the existing world-class facilities, he noted that the country is well equipped to host an international event of Commonwealth magnitude involving 74 Commonwealth nations and territories. Muhammad Norzah also assured that the hosting will involve minimal government spending and bring significant socio-economic benefits to the country. The last time Malaysia hosted the Commonwealth Games was back in 1998. The fate of the 2026 Commonwealth Games remains in question after the Australian state of Victoria pulled out in July last year. This decision was made due to increased hosting costs, which escalated from the initial expectation of 8.09 billion ringgit to about 21.78 billion ringgit. Meanwhile, Ong Yew Hock said that hosting the 2026 Commonwealth Games presents the country with a significant opportunity that needs to be considered. Speaking to Nightline, the former national shuttler highlighted his experience in the 1998 Kuala Lumpur Commonwealth Games, suggesting that accepting the offer could yield substantial positive impacts on both the economy and the sports scene.
I think organize this Commonwealth Game is benefited through our Malaysian athlete, and also in the return that is very good for Malaysian government. If we can host like this, so if we can do it, that is will be benefit for our Malaysian government and also benefit for our economy too.
In terms of facilities, he believes that the country is prepared and ready to cater to the needs of the second largest competition in the world.
Our stadium Bukit Jalil is ready, and quite a lot of number venue is ready. So we only can put in or repair that some that is still not in good condition. So we don't see any facility that we are lacking. So I think if we can host this event, is benefited for our country and also for our sport people, and also for the Malaysian can go and support and see the world-class people take part in this Commonwealth Games.
Subsidised medicines for patients receiving treatment at all health ministry facilities are still maintained so that the people are not burdened with any increase in medicine costs. Deputy Health Minister Datuk Lukanisman Awang Sauni said this despite prices of medicines in the market affected by various economic factors which are beyond the control of his ministry. Lukanisman said this in the Dewan Rakyat on Monday in his reply to a question from Tampin MP, Datuk Muhammad Isa, who wanted to know the response of the ministry regarding the predicted increase in the price of medicines and pharmaceutical products by around 5 to 10%, which will put financial pressure on patients and their relatives, especially those suffering from chronic diseases.
Pada masa ini, subsidi ubat-ubatan kepada pesakit yang menerima rawatan di semua fasilitis KKM masih dikekalkan supaya rakyat tidak terbeban dengan sebarang peningkatan kos ubat. Bagi pesakit yang mendapatkan rawatan di fasilitis kesihatan swasta, KKM turut menyediakan harga panduan pengguna bagi membantu rakyat mendapatkan maklumat harga dan membuat perbandingan harga.
The Deputy Minister said to help the government reduce the cost of medicine procurement, the ministry has implemented several measures, including the method of procurement of medicines with a 3-year contract, which is seen to bring great benefits to the government. The measure is able to save the government's costs to get a more stable offer price, as well as to ensure that there will be no price increase within 3 years. Additionally, he said the ministry will avoid recurring costs for procurement purposes, such as tender advertising costs, more effective contract monitoring, and avoiding interruption of service supply in the event of a new tender process. Moving on, the Education Ministry has no plans so far to revamp the current education ecosystem of vernacular schools in the country. Nevertheless, Minister Fadlina Siddiq said the ministry takes note of the suggestions made by UMNO Youth Chief Muhammad Akmal Saleh on March 9th for the government to relook into the vernacular education ecosystem. The minister said that any action or decision to revamp the existing education ecosystem must be based on the provisions contained in the Education Act.
Pendirian Kementerian Pendidikan Malaysia adalah untuk berdiri, tegak dan juga memperkukuhkan Akta Pendidikan. Dan sekolah vernacular ini, sebagaimana yang saya tegaskan sebelum ini, diiktiraf oleh Akta Pendidikan.
Fadlina spoke to the media after checking out the first day of the 2024-2025 school session at Sekolah Kebangsaan Saujana Putra in Selangor on Monday. Last Saturday, Merlimau Assemblyman Akmal called on the government to conduct a detailed evaluation of the vernacular education ecosystem by inculcating nationalistic aspects while strengthening its students' command of the Malay language. The statement was later criticised by former Pulau Pinang DAP Deputy Chairman P. Ramasamy, who described the problem of unity in this country not rooted in vernacular education, but rather because of political parties that carry racial agenda. Meanwhile, Education Director General said the Early Schooling Aid, or BAP, with an allocation exceeding 67 million ringgit, will be distributed to 8,903 schools nationwide starting this week, benefiting a total of 447,982 Year 1 students. Azman Adnan said the amount was part of the 788.13 million ringgit allocated in the 2024 budget specifically for BAP.
Kita telah menyalurkan sebanyak 702 juta sebelum ini kepada murid tahun 1 hinggalah tahun 6 pada sesi yang lalu. Daripada jumlah 788 juta. Jadi bakinya sekarang ni ialah untuk anak-anak kita yang baru saja masuk ke tahun 1 lah untuk tahun 2024 ni.
Azman said this after inspecting the first day of the school session at Sekolah Kebangsaan Merlimau II in Jasid, Melaka. A total of 3.61 million students from states in Group B out of a total of 5.05 million students nationwide started the 2024-2025 academic school session on Monday. Group B covers schools in Melaka, Negeri Sembilan, Pahang, Perak, Perlis, Pulau Pinang, Sabah, Sarawak, Selangor, Kuala Lumpur, Labuan and Putrajaya. The Unclaimed Monies Amendment Bill 2024 to enable the government to consider unclaimed money as revenue after a period of 10 years was tabled for first reading in the Dewan Rakyat on Monday. Second Finance Minister Datuk Sri Amir Hamzah Azizan tabled the bill, which will see the second reading also scheduled to take place during this session. Under the existing law, unclaimed money previously held by companies and lodged with the registrar are to be credited into the Consolidated Trust account. After a lapse of 15 years, the unclaimed money under the trust account would be transferred to the Consolidated Revenue account. The proposed amendments to the Act would see the 15-year period for this to happen reduced to 10 years. The government has announced plans to amend the Land Group Settlement Areas Act 1960, Act 530, to standardize the Federal Land Development Authority FELDA management system with a specific focus on facilitating the seamless transfer of land ownership for settlers. Despite acknowledging that the amendment process is expected to take nearly 4 years, Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Ahmad Hamidi emphasised the government's unwavering commitment to implementing these changes.
Kita sedang dalam proses untuk mengulang kaji, melakukan penambahbaikan terhadap GSA ini, dan walaupun masa yang akan diambil adalah hampir 4 tahun, namun kita sangat komited, terutamanya Program Perdana Menteri, untuk melihat Felda bukan hanya disantuni tetapi dibantu dengan lebih baik.
Zahid, who is also the Rural and Regional Development Minister, also said that he would meet with Felda management for the second time to discuss issues related to the institution, including grievances raised by Felda settlers against the excessive debt deduction rate. He affirmed the government's commitment to take necessary steps to address the issues, including a comprehensive review of the payment methods for palm oil sales and exploring alternative avenues to market the produce of Felda settlers. Logistics service providers are now further exempted from paying service tax for related services to reduce instances of cascading effects or double taxation. The Finance Ministry said this is an additional scope of exemption to logistics services business-to-business B2B transactions, which previously only covered the same logistics services components. With the additional exemption, a freight service provider, for example, will not just be exempted from paying service tax for procuring freight service from another company. Second Finance Minister Datuk Sri Hamzah Azizan told the Dewan Rakyat on Monday that the tax exemption will also be for procurement of other logistics services under similar items as the freight service. The exemption follows a total of 25 engagement sessions with multiple stakeholders, including logistic players.
Ini akan mengurangkan potensi tax on tax. Contohnya, penyedia perkhidmatan penghantar freight bukan sahaja mendapat pengecualian atas perkhidmatan freight, tetapi turut layak mendapat pengecualian kepada perkhidmatan lain seperti pengundangan, pelabuhan, perkapalan dan kemudahan rantai sejuk.
The Finance Ministry will continue to undertake engagement sessions with industry players, especially in the logistics sector, to finalise the amendment to the guidelines to facilitate its enforcement. Home Minister Datuk Seri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail said he is currently conducting a series of explanations for members of Parliament, MPs, regarding the government's move to amend the federal constitution concerning provisions on children's citizenship rights.
Saya sekarang dalam siri memberi penjelasan pada ahli-ahli Parlimen. Okey, dan saya yakin jika saya berpeluang untuk terus memberi penjelasan macam ini, macam saya sedang bagi penjelasan pada reporters, dan reporter bantu tulis, okey, saya yakin pindaan ini boleh mendapat sokongan yang diperlukan.
Saifuddin said this after opening the Royal Malaysia Police PDRM Special Dialogue 2024 in Kuala Lumpur on Monday. PKR MP for Pasir Gudang, Hassan Abdul Karim, was reported as saying on Sunday that he would oppose the amendments because he felt there is no reason to change the provisions which have been in force for so long. The objection is against the proposal to amend the federal constitution, which grants citizenship to abandoned children by operation of law. Saifuddin also reiterated his commitment to resolving the remaining 14,000 citizenship applications under the federal constitution through legislative authority for children born out of wedlock, adopted children or abandoned children exceeding infant age. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC has initiated an investigation into the system and procedures for contract awards related to the procurement contracts of Spanco Sdn Bhd for supplying and managing government vehicles. Its Chief Commissioner Tan Sri Azam Baki said that the cancellation decision against companies allegedly entitled to the related projects are currently under scrutiny.
In an interview with TV3 in Putrajaya, Azam said the anti-graft buster needs some time to review relevant documents before finalising the investigation papers.
Ini isu yang menuntut SPRM untuk menyiasat. Jadi kita masih lagi explore dan juga meneruskan siasatan tentang isu-isu ini. Belum lagi saya boleh nyatakan tentang kukuh atau tidak. Siasatan masih dijalankan.
Previously, the residence of a business person holding the title Tan Sri was raided by the MACC in connection with allegations of corruption involving the procurement and management of government vehicles valued at 4.5 billion ringgit. As part of the MACC's operations, 4 companies, including the government vehicle supplier, were also raided. So far, more than 20 individuals have been called to assist in the investigation, and about 80 bank accounts of related companies and individuals have been frozen.
Oppenheimer sweeps Oscars 2024. News from the foreign front when we return.
Baginya, mak adalah segala-galanya.
Apa pun jadi, awak kena ambil hati dia.
Tolong Mami kerja kat dapur.
Sampai dia lupa yang aku pun ada perasaan juga.
Kalau pergi sangat, pergilah. Dekat celah-celah dapur ni korang bercium-ciuman kan? Jangan sedih macam ni.
Memang huru-hara lah Iskandar Cempaka bila mak jadi orang ketiga. Khamis hingga Sabtu, 9 malam. Terbaru di Lestari TV3.
Indahnya berbagi, berkongsi rasa, eratkan hubungan. WHI Kongsi kembali lagi. Kami terus menyantuni golongan yang memerlukan. Hantarkan sumbangan anda berbentuk persiapan Ramadan dan Hari Raya kepada alamat yang tertera sebelum 28 Mac 2024. Marhaban ya Ramadan.
Welcome back to the foreign front. The head of the United Nations has called for a ceasefire in Gaza and for the removal of all obstacles to ensure aid deliveries into the enclave in honor of Ramadan. Secretary-General Antonio Guterres on Monday also urged political religious and community leaders everywhere to do everything in their power to make the holy period a time for empathy, action and peace. The call, however, fell to deaf ears as the Zionist regime continued to launch attacks on the city of Rafah in southern Gaza and on the Nuseirat refugee camp in the central part of the enclave, killing more than 20 people. Palestinians in the West Bank are taking part in a more somber Ramadan this year in light of the Israeli war on Gaza, shunning decorations and focusing more on prayer and religious customs. It also came as Palestinians in Gaza are on the verge of famine, and many are dying of malnutrition and dehydration. Dozens of people have been injured on Monday by a strong movement on a Chilean flight from Australia to New Zealand, the latest in a series of safety-related incidents to feature a Boeing plane. According to passengers, the Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner quickly lost altitude during the flight, flinging those unsecured towards the ceiling. About 50 people were treated for minor injuries when the plane landed in Auckland. 12 were taken to hospital, with one believed to be in serious condition. Chilean LATAM Airlines, in a statement, blamed the injuries on a technical event during the flight, which caused a strong movement. However, it was not immediately clear what caused the incident. Now, Oppenheimer swept the board on Sunday at the Oscars with 7 awards, including Best Picture and Best Director, crowning a triumphant year for filmmaker Christopher Nolan.
Nolan's masterful drama about the father of the atomic bomb, half of last summer's massive Barbenheimer phenomenon, bagged acting prizes for lead Cillian Murphy and supporting actor Robert Downey Jr. Murphy was named Best Actor for his performance, beating out Paul Giamatti and Jeffrey Wright, marking his first Oscar win from his first nomination. Downey Jr. also won his first Oscar after he bagged Best Supporting Actor up against Robert De Niro and Ryan Gosling. The other equally huge smash of 2023 was Greta Gerwig's pop feminist blockbuster Barbie. The movie, which grossed $1.4 billion at the box office, only won 1 Oscar for Best Original Song, Billie Eilish's What Was I Made For? The 22-year-old, who delivered a heartfelt rendition of the reflective song, now has 2 Oscars to her name, after a previous win 2 years ago for James Bond theme No Time to Die with her brother and frequent collaborator Phineas O'Connell. Meanwhile, in a surprise twist, Emma Stone beat out favourite Lily Gladstone to be named Best Actress for her role in Yorgos Lanthimos' offbeat period comedy Poor Things. This is the actor's second Best Actress Oscar after previously winning for La La Land. The film also picked up awards for production design, hairstyling, and makeup and costume design. The show, which was hosted by Jimmy Kimmel, also had some memorable moments, such as Ryan Gosling's performance, which stunned the audience with his typical vibrant rendition of I'm Just Ken from Barbie, as well as performances by Becky G, John Batiste, and the Osage Tribe singers and dancers. On another note, several nominees wore lapel pins, calling for a ceasefire in the war between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip, while sporadic protests erupted around the event's security perimeter.
Leverkusen retained their 10-point lead. Sports after this breather.
Korang baru balik dari bazar kan? Apa lagi? Jomlah tonton drama-drama terbaik Ramadan minggu ini di TV3.
Tipu aku.
Thank you so much, sayang.
You're welcome.
Dia nak nikah perempuan tu? Kau kenapa senyum macam orang gila ni? Sakit ke?
Gila tak sakit? Calon.
Calon apa? Cuma bukan nak rampas dia daripada Mami pun. Takut kena racun lah. Dalam mi goreng.
Saksikan di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
InsyaAllah.
Detik cemas. Helikopter AW139 terhempas dalam sekelip mata.
Dalam 5-6 kali pusing, meletup di bahagian ekor. Pok, dia jatuh. Tak pernah ada pengalaman terkejutlah helikopter jatuh depan mata kan.
Saksikan 999 Selasa jam 9 malam di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Money Matters is back with a new season. Your key insights into finance. Money Matters. Every Saturday, 5 p.m. Only on TV3 and stream now on Tonton.
Sports football, the German Bundesliga, unbeaten Bayer Leverkusen eased past 10-man Wolfsburg with a 2-0 win, restoring their 10-point lead at the top of the table and affirming their pursuit of a first-ever title. Florian Witz's effort struck the woodwork in the 22nd minute before the visitors went down to 10 men following a second booking for Moritz Jens 6 minutes later. The hosts did not take long to make the extra man count as Nathan Taylor broke the deadlock, heading in Alejandro Grimaldo's cross in the 37th minute. Despite Leverkusen wasting a couple of chances, Wirtz made amends for his earlier miss, volleying in their second goal just before the final whistle to seal the convincing 2-0 victory. Xabi Alonso's team remained unbeaten across all competitions, stretching their run to 36 games without defeat. The win also saw Leverkusen solidify their top spot with 67 points, 10 points ahead of second place Bayern Munich. And on to tennis, the 2024 Indian Wells Open, Czech Republic's Jiří Lehečka moved into the round of 16 after outclassing 5th seed Andrei Rublev in straight sets on Monday.
The 32nd seed got his revenge on the world number 5, firing 9 aces and hitting 31 winners in the 6-4, 6-4 win. He will face 11th seed Stefanos Tsitsipas next. In another match, German Alexander Zverev defeated Dylan Grigspor 7-6, 6-3 in 1 hour and 44 minutes to reach the last 16. The world number 6 will play Australian Alex de Minaur, the number 10 seed in the next round. Also in the next round was Jannik Sinner. The Italian eased into the 4th round after beating Jan-Lennard Struff 6-3, 6-4 in 1 hour and 14 minutes. Sinner will face American Ben Shelton next, who claimed a 7-6, 3-6, 7-6 victory over Francisco Cerundolo. Earlier, second seed Carlos Alcaraz continued his dominance, cruising to a 6-2, 6-3 sweep of 31st seeded Canadian Felix Auger-Aliassime. Alcaraz is set to face Italian Fabian Morozan in the next round.
Still to come, smuggled items worth over 13 million ringgit seized.
Jadikan Ramadan tahun ini sebagai permulaan untuk perbaiki diri bersama TV3. Surga untuk isteriku 12 Mac.
Gara-gara dia, gue jadi omelin sama bokap gue.
Terjebak di alam barzah 13 Mac. Setiap Selasa dan Rabu jam 5 petang di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Mira tak ada idea lah nak masak apa untuk berbuka ni.
Lah, janganlah stres-stres. TV3 ada banyak resipi-resipi yang mak-mak, akak-akak boleh cuba tau.
Lepas tu apa kata Morin sambil tengok sembang sahur.
Tapi yang bestnya, Mira seronok dia tengok dia bangun sahur ni.
Buffet dekat sini memang sangat-sangat meriah.
Dah siap Rabu Temikai Tok Mina.
Boleh cuba resepi asam pedas Syihan.
Saksikan di TV3 dan stream sekarang melalui Tonton.
Pembunuhan yang paling kejam yang pernah berlaku di negara ini lah.
Dia diseksa. Itu yang saya tak boleh nak lupa.
Keadaan masa tu nampak kelang kabut sikit.
Memang sedih. Kes itu menggemparkan negara.
Ada sesuatu yang sedang berlaku di sanalah. Kita nak cari kebenaran.
Menyoroti kes-kes yang pernah menggemparkan dunia dan Malaysia, segalanya akan dirungkai dalam Fail Mahkamah setiap Rabu 9 malam. Terbaharu di TV3 dan stream sekarang ditonton.
Welcome back. The Negeri Sembilan Customs Department seized smuggled white cigarettes and liquor worth a total of 13.4 million ringgit, including tax, in separate raids in Northport, in Port Klang and Pandamaran, Selangor on February 26 and March 1st. Its director, Muhammad Hafiz Ishaq, said that in the raid at noon on February 26, the team detained 3 containers in Northport and found 97,200 cans and 30,392 bottles of liquor of various brands and sizes. All liquor seized was worth 3.2 million ringgit and an offence was committed under the Customs Act 1967. 2 local men in their 40s were also detained for investigation. The liquor is believed to be from Dubai and China and for the markets of neighbouring countries. The 3 containers with the goods were seized and taken to the State Customs Enforcement Division office for further investigation. Meanwhile, during an inspection at about 4 p.m. at a premises in Pandamaran on March 1st, the department seized 5 containers and 2 lorries which contained 591,000 packets of white cigarettes of various brands and 51,936 cans and 5,576 bottles of liquor, respectively. The seized goods were without tax labels and worth 10.2 million ringgit. All seized containers and trucks were brought back to the Customs Enforcement Division office. The owner of the premises, in his 50s, along with 2 foreign workers in their 30s, were detained for investigation. And lastly, in Terengganu, 3 men, including a husband suspected of offering his wife for sexual services, have been remanded for a week to assist in the investigation of a human trafficking case. The remand order until next Monday was granted by Magistrate Nur Mazrini Mahmud at the Kuala Terengganu Magistrates Court. The 3 suspects, aged between 29 and 48, were detained in a condominium in Kuala Terengganu at 2 a.m. on Monday. The 29-year-old victim, who is also the wife of one of the suspects, was present at the location during the raid. Further investigation at the condominium also found a sum of cash and condoms. The case is being investigated under the Anti-Trafficking in Persons and Anti-Smuggling of Migrants Act. And that wraps up this edition of Nightline. We leave you with visuals of 50 preschool students and 80 Year 1 students of the Sekolah Kebangsaan Bandar Baru Sri Damansara embarking on their first day of the 2024 curriculum session. Welcoming them with open arms were cosplayers dressed as Ant-Man and Deadpool, adding an extra touch of excitement and joy to their first day. With that, I'm Muhammed and Hamdan. Thanks for tuning in and selamat berpuasa.